Episode 62 of the Unscripted Company podcast, your mother's favorite podcast. Ask her about it. I'm sure she's watched us before. Fun fact, Riley, we never really talked about this. We actually have viewers in France, the Philippines, Switzerland, South Africa, Ireland, India, New Zealand, Netherlands, Sweden, Germany, Australia, the United Kingdom, Canada, and the good old United States of America. So for those of you tuning in for the first time, welcome. You're in good company. Unscripted Company. To get things kicked off for this episode 62, Riley, you got a question of the week for us?
I do. First of all, I thought for a second there you were about to list every other state besides the U.S. For a second there, I was like, whoa, we're popular everywhere else.
No, the cool thing is, thankfully, I mean, who knows? Things could turn, but thankfully, the United States is our number one viewing audience. They make up 65.6% of our views, specifically on YouTube. Who knows on Rumble, Spotify, etc. Haven't really checked those stats. Second place comes in Canada. Basically, if you go back and listen to what I just said, I read it all in inverse order. So France is on the map with 0.1% of our viewing audience. So I forget how to say bonjour. I went blank on how you say hello in French. But what you got for that question of the week, man?
So, would you rather have a third eye that only sees into awkward social situations or a second mouth that only speaks in riddles?
Ooh. Well, I think one of them would upset my wife. Let me think here. Okay, so you said a third eye that sees through awkward situations?
That sees into awkward situations.
Okay, so we're not saying literally a third eye, but like the metaphysical third eye of like telepathy.
I'm pretty sure an actual like third eye.
So I got to go walking around town with a third eye. Questionable.
You can always like keep it covered, like you can wear like a headband, you know.
That is true.
Or it depends on where the third eye is at.
Yeah. If I were to say in my current life, I'd probably have to go for the third eye and just figure out how to hide it. Years ago, maybe I'd go for the second mouth that only speaks in riddles.
Yeah.
Yeah, just because I could live underneath the highway bridge and ask people riddles in order to pass underneath that bridge. So that's tough. What about you? What do you think?
Similarly, I feel like if I had a second mouth that only spoke in riddles, I feel like my wife would also be upset as well.
Where would the second mouth even be located first? That's the real question.
That is the real question.
Third eye, I assume would be like your forehead, maybe literally.
Yeah, like the Illuminati eye kind of thing.
That's what I'm picturing. Yeah.
I don't know. That is actually a great question.
Let's ask the viewers that. Where do y'all think
y'all
the second mouth is? Where's that second mouth live? Wrong answers only.
Answers only.
Back to you,
let us know in the TikTok comments when y'all see this question because it's going to be on there. Yeah, I don't know. I'd probably do the third eye also, just because it'd be interesting. Because the second mouth and you only ask people riddles. I mean, yeah, that can get kind of hairy. Because like, what if you don't even know the answer to the riddles and it's just there, you know?
That's true.
Yeah, that's true. Let us know in the comments.
Yeah. Man, all right. So, as is tradition, I think I started off talking about the weather real quick. Did it get cold up in the Dallas-Fort Worth area?
Yes.
Like today and yesterday?
Yes. It started kind of getting a little chilly yesterday. Today we woke up and it was 47 degrees outside, and then it slowly started dropping. So I had a couple of appointments today, and it slowly started getting chillier and chillier. We're actually in a freeze warning tonight.
Oh, y'all really?
Yeah. It's supposed to get down to 29 degrees tonight, real feel.
Dang. Okay. So for those of you in South Africa who are not familiar with the Texas weather pattern, since we have South African viewers, right now it is April 6th. We're usually, I don't want to say preparing for summer, but Texas doesn't really have a spring. It just kind of goes like post-winter into hot. Like not too many days ago, it was like what, 90s, high 80s, low 90s, humid, getting ready for summertime. But then like wake up yesterday and today, it's like 48 degrees outside. I'm like, hold on a second, I gotta put on a jacket. We just packed up all our winter clothes for the season. Like, so I don't know. It's always colder. I mean, riding about 3.5, 4 hours to get some traffic up the road for for myself. So it's It's just crazy. I don't know what it is. I guess cold front came in or something.
Yeah.
But it's cold. Happy
It is
winter.
cold.
What do you want for Christmas this year? Knowing that it's cold again, we already got to start prepping for Christmas and New Year's. No, I'm kidding.
I don't even want to think about Christmas right now, man. Like
Yeah.
the fact that we're already in April and this year's just like flying by,
Yeah.
and so it's kind of hard to believe. So
Yeah. We're already in I think it's like the second quarter of the year. It's crazy.
yeah,
I'm still writing 2024 on accident on some work documents. So
I'm still calling myself 29 years old.
yeah,
It still
no.
doesn't feel real, man.
No, you're the dirty 30 now.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah. Is your back starting to hurt? Knees getting weak?
Dude, my
Arms getting
back has
heavy?
been hurting, man. Like,
Something about mom spaghetti? Forget.
yeah. Knees weak.
Yeah.
Wheeze neek. The backwards variation.
Well, all right, man. I saw the topics you had on the notes, and I totally blanked on the first one you had there. So I don't know if you want to kick off with that, but for those of you who haven't seen the news, actually, I'll let you set it up. You put it on there. I saw this in the news a couple days ago. Tragic. If you know the one I'm talking about, I see on there.
So there were actually a couple things that happened. Both of them very sad. So we heard about this on Wednesday when it happened, but there was a stabbing that took place in Frisco, Texas, at a track meet. So I don't know like every detail of the story because we only briefly talked about it before Bible study. We prayed about it and everything, hoping that everyone's okay. I watched a video and read an article that how it went down wasn't exactly how it went down. But again, there's always three sides to every story. There's, the wrong side, the right, there's this person's side, and then what really happened. So what we thought was just, a fatal stabbing, like some dude just stabbed a guy. So the 17-year-old student was charged with murder in the fatal stabbing of another student at a track meet, allegedly confessed to the killing, and officers say he told them he was protecting himself. The incident occurred Wednesday morning at Frisco Independent School District Stadium during a track and field championship involving multiple schools in the district. Austin Metcalf, 17, 11th grader at Frisco Memorial High School, died after police said another student stabbed him during an altercation in the bleachers at the meet. The suspect in the deadly stabbing, Carmelo Anthony, a student at Frisco Centennial High School, has been charged with first-degree murder. They said that Anthony told him unprompted without being asked any questions about the incident, "I was protecting myself," according to the arrest report. As he was walking towards the squad car, Anthony was emotional, reportedly saying unprompted he put his hands on me. "I told him not to," according to the arrest report. Once in the back seat, he also reportedly asked if Metcalf was going to be okay, according to the report. So he admitted to it. He was like, "Hey, I did this," and it is sad. But Anthony made another spontaneous statement and reportedly asked an officer if what happened could be considered self-defense, according to the arrest report. Another officer reported that the suspect was crying hysterically while being walked away from the stadium, the report said. So this is a photo of the student. It says Anthony is being held in the Collin County Jail on $1 million bond. Court records show when reached for comment on Friday, his attorney told ABC News that he had been on the case for only a few hours and needed to catch up. The stabbing occurred approximately 10 a.m. Says they spoke to multiple witnesses, including one who reported that the altercation began after Metcalf told Anthony to move out from under their team's tent. According to the arrest report, the witness reported that Anthony allegedly reached inside his bag and said, "Touch me and see what happens." According to the witness, Metcalf grabbed Anthony to move on, and Anthony allegedly pulled out what the witness described as a black knife and stabbed Austin once in the chest and then ran away. So this was the student that was stabbed at the track meet. So here's the thing. So he had a twin brother. So this is Austin Metcalf. He had a twin brother, Hunter Metcalf, who was also at the meet and spoke to officers at the scene. He said that after his brother told Anthony he had to leave the tent because he didn't go to Memorial, the two went back and forth, and then Austin stood up and pushed the male to get him out of the tent, according to the arrest report. Tried to whip him around as fast as I could, but I didn't see the stab, Hunter Metcalf told Dallas ABC affiliate WFAA. It was really senseless. I don't know why a person would do that to someone just over a little argument. So here's the thing. Here's what I actually heard and what I read in another article.
Word on the street.
Apparently, the twins, when they were under the tent, they were bullying him. And, I don't know if there was any racial profanity, nothing like that. Nothing like that was brought up in the article. But they were apparently bullying him. And they wouldn't leave the tent. Because, again, I mean, if it's not your tent, if it's not your team, why were you there in the first place? Like, you shouldn't have been there. And I'm saying this on the record. I'm not saying it was the twins' fault. I'm not saying it was anyone's fault. I'm just saying that usually at sporting events, usually your coaches would, encourage you to not really just go talk to any of the other students. Unless you know them personally and they just go to a different school, usually you're encouraged to stay at your own tent, your own area. I played sports, so that's just kind of how I remember it being. Especially, I didn't do track, but I've seen that at track meets before.
Yeah.
So again, I'm not saying that it was either person's fault, but if in fact they were there unprompted and they were bullying him, and he told them to leave or else, he gave them a warning, 17 years old or not. To be fair, he probably shouldn't have had a knife either. But I mean, in the state of Texas, at 17, I'm pretty sure you can carry a knife on you.
I believe so.
But at a track meet, I don't know, because it's a school sanctioned event. I don't know how, you're probably not able to.
Yeah.
But be that as it may,
and it's one of those events too. They don't think they think about security, not in the sense of, hey, we got to check every bag that comes in. Like, it's not like going to an airport, but they have security. But they're not thinking, oh yeah, all these students are packing.
Right. And so if they were, in fact, they're actually bullying him, then I'm not, it's still a tragedy of what happened, but you got to be mindful about that. This is why it's better to just not mess with people who you never know what they're going through, because all it takes is just that one instance, and then someone's just going to snap, and then something could happen. Not necessarily saying that he was bullied by these kids long before this happened, because he probably didn't even know them. But if they were there messing with him and taunting him in some kind of way, if he was also there competing, then there was bound to be an altercation happen if they didn't leave. It's just, unfortunately, it was the type of altercation that nobody wanted to happen.
To add another wrinkle to this too, I remember reading, and I've seen this in news reports too, that the student who's now deceased was all-star athlete.
Yep.
In addition to an academic, what's the term? What's the term I'm looking for here? Did very well academically, honor roll. They were on the honor roll and things like that. So you have the story, or instant reaction of, you see these two individuals, and for those of you who are on the video version, you can kind of understand the stereotypes that might be drawn from this. For those of you in audio land, just look up the story. It'll make sense once you see the two photos of the individuals, how some of the stereotype pretty fast, and how one person seems innocent, one person seems guilty, but also innocent until proven guilty on what truly happened there. I'm curious to see what comes out. It should be the case.
It's not always. You're guilty until you're proven innocent.
Because you're right. Like, if the guy truly felt threatened, I'm not going to say what he did was justified, but I don't blame him at the same time. Like, if he truly felt a safety concern there.
Right.
But at the same time, was that the best action? I don't know. Because it's a school event. There's adults. There's got to be adults around here somewhere, right?
But also, too, what if I'm not saying he was bullied before, but what if this was like one of those situations where you have a student who's been bullied, and this happened with me. I was bullied in middle school, and I would always go tell a teacher, principal, whoever. Nothing ever got done. They got out of it, and then I got bullied even more after that.
That's
Granted,
true.
again, they probably might not have gone to the same school, but you get my point.
Yeah.
Another thing to this, and you mentioned stereotypes, is I don't know if it's probably just because of what the news outlets decide to show us, but on one hand,
No, go ahead. Sorry.
I'll say on one hand, you have an African American kid who stabs a white kid. It makes national news. The other hand, you'll see instances where an African American kid gets killed by either a police officer, someone else of white, of Caucasian, and a lot of times you don't see it on national news. You find it on a TikTok video, or you find it on a Facebook reel that police officers, shot and killed black man. And I'm not saying like every situation is different, and I'm not by any means saying like white
Every
people are right.
situation has its own story.
Yeah, it has its own story, and nobody except for the people who were there in the moment know what happened.
And I'll say something. My perspective from the outside looking in too. This is also Frisco, Texas. Nothing against the lovely city of Frisco. It's a beautiful town. Actually, genuinely enjoy it. It's a beautiful town.
Expensive town, but yes.
But it is a northern suburb of Dallas, which for those of you who are familiar with Texas, the northern suburbs of Dallas, there is a certain socioeconomic makeup of a town, a suburb like that. So I'll just say that.
Yeah. And so, it's still a tragedy about what happened.
Yeah.
And hopefully, I'll be honest, like this is actually something I'm going to follow, like not like super, super heavily, but I want to see what happens.
It's probably going to be a big story in the Dallas-Fort Worth news, if not the Texas news going forward, just because
it made the state news. Like I think it even made national news too.
Oh, it for sure made national news.
Yeah.
All the news and politic related X accounts that I follow, they were all over this dude, like all over. But they're the accounts that post before quote unquote fact checks occur.
Okay.
So they definitely picked up on the narrative that you and I are kind of speaking to right now, and how that was potentially could be misportrayed. I'm curious to see, like you said, like how does this play out in the actual court case?
Because I'll be honest, I carry a knife every day, but I also carry other things, and if I'm like, granted, if someone's bullying me, like as an adult, like I'm not gonna be like, oh, like okay, like I'm not gonna do that, but like that would be my last like defense, against someone. Like it's like if they were bullying him, it's like at that point, like instead of stabbing someone, you probably could have just swung on him, and I guarantee it, teachers would have stepped in immediately and stopped that. Nobody would have died. Nobody, like, and you both probably would have gotten disqualified from the event, but nobody would have died.
In worst case, one of the worst cases would be you just go to in-school suspension. Like, I mean, yeah, maybe criminal charges if you got a good swing and broke a nose, but
or they'd send you to alternative school or something like that.
Yeah,
like that would be it. Like,
yeah.
But the thing is, though, would they have done it would they have given the same punishment to both parties if they know what happened? That's a great
question. It's a great question.
Because we know how the system is, and me as a white person, I'm acknowledging sometimes how the system is in certain cases where if you have a white kid versus a black kid in a fight, they're going to give the harsher punishment sometimes to the black kid who may not have as many merits as the white kid. I've seen that happen in certain cases.
Because what I've seen in the news articles, at least, and I know this will change probably over the coming days, years, months, whatever. They make this kid, the victim in this case, look like an absolute saint, and I don't know that. He could have been. He really could have been. I don't know, but that's the way he's been portrayed.
Yeah,
and I feel weird talking about it that way, but that's the way it's portrayed in the news right now. Is one's good, one's evil. When it's like, I mean,
it's like, but we don't know what happened.
So I'm also wondering, did anyone have a cell phone out and happen to like record?
That's what I'm saying. Like, there's no way that it's a track meet at a high school in Frisco, Texas. For those of you who don't know, Collin County is one of the highest populated counties in the country. Like it's one of the fastest growing counties next to Denton County in the country right now. There's no way that nobody had cell phone footage or video, or there were no actual witnesses that were in that tent with them. Like, you're telling me that they were the only three in that tent at the time? No. Something else was somebody else saw something. And I feel like they're either waiting to come forward, but it even said too that the lawyer that he got said that he's still catching up on all the facts of the case. So you could better believe there's probably going to be some statements being made, some people being brought in, questioned, subpoenaed, all kinds of stuff. And not only that, what about cameras? Like, you got to have security cameras around the area. Go subpoena the footage from the security cameras, and then you'll get your answer right there of what happened. If you can get a clear enough video.
If I was a taxpayer for Frisco ISD, living in the city of Frisco, boy, I'd be asking questions, making sure there's cameras there. Because
you
never know.
The other, I'll go ahead and talk about this one too because it kind of similar aspects. Let me see. So, unfortunately, we had another. There's actually a couple, but this one was the one that was talked about most. But a school nurse was killed in a crash caused by a alleged repeat drunk driver speeding down 380.
Oh,
There's actually a video of it. I don't know if it'll actually show the actual video.
and for those of you not aware, 380 is a road that it spans a good chunk of like North Texas, but it in this case, like it does go through Frisco, Texas.
Yes. Okay, so right here.
Where,
WI arrest was behind the wheel at the time. NBC5's Maria Guerrero has the family's reaction.
So
His
she's in
dash
that car
camera
right there.
rolling, Don Davidson Jr. tells NBC5 he never thought driving home from work last Friday he'd witness such a horrific accident, let alone caused by a suspected repeat drunk driver. The innocent victim, Raquel Torres Sawyer, a wife, mother of two, longtime educator turned school nurse.
It's a tragic situation that, quite honestly, did not have to happen.
No, this isn't
Police
like
say the video is vital and shows Austin Bruckner speeding down US 380.
it was like 4
running
o'clock
the
in the
red light
afternoon.
just as
Yeah.
a line of cars turned onto Lover's Lane. Bruckner smashing into Sawyer's SUV. The crash killing her and injuring him.
The initial
It'll show it
indication
in a
shows
second, I think.
that he possibly could have been intoxicated. As part of our investigation, we did get a blood warrant, so we have drawn a specimen from the suspect.
At 25, Bruckner has a previous DWI arrest out of Dallas, where online records show he accepted a plea deal, serving 1 year probation and community service. Now charged with intoxication manslaughter, detectives are tracing his movements that day.
We will go through Texas Alcohol Beverage Commission. They have trace agents that will go back and basically walk step by step of where these people are coming from.
Sawyer's husband says by sharing what happened to his wife, he hopes at least something good comes out of this, raising awareness about the terrible impacts of drinking and driving. Raquel, Chris Sawyer says, was a wonderful mother, wife, daughter, and friend. An amazing educator teaching bilingual 5th grade in Dallas, Denton, and Plano school districts. She had a real gift and her kids loved her, leading to consistent performance. Most recently, she decided to pursue her dream to become a school nurse. She started out as an ER nurse before going back, combining her love of helping kids and working as a middle school nurse for Little Elm ISD. Raquel, he says, leaves behind 2 daughters, 26 and 11 years old, her mother, 3 sisters, and countless friends. In Prosper, Maria Guerrero, NBC5.
A family friend.
Yo,
So
that
let me
is
see.
tragic.
Let me see if I can.
What are we going to name this episode, sir?
Dude, I'll be honest. I have Tragedy Strikes Frisco, Texas.
I guess I saw
don't
that.
know.
That was like Prosper, which was like
Yeah,
walking distance from Frisco. Really,
oh,
that
let me see
is
if I can-
crazy. Like for those of you that were in audio land, you probably kind of picked up on it from the narration of the video. But this is like at what was that, like 4:30 in the afternoon?
Something like that. Yeah. let me see
Yo,
if-
that's even before happy hour.
I'm trying to see if I can find. They probably. I'll be honest. They probably took a lot of them down. That's okay if they did.
I could probably find that on X if I really wanted to. I mean, trust me, I've seen
Well,
these videos
I
quite
found
frequently.
the video
But
on the video came across my thing on Facebook, and I've got the video on Facebook, but no, I'm pretty sure from what they said, she had died on impact, like she was killed on impact. And dude, she was probably going home for the day too. That's the sad part. Like because it was around the time school was already out, so she was probably going home for the day.
yeah, that's just so sad. That is crazy.
Let me see.
Yeah, this episode is just going to be titled something. Death
It's
and
not
taxes.
all going to be tragic, I promise. But
I think I'm going to title it Death and Taxes, something like that, because those are the only 2 guarantees in life.
right.
Shout out to Benjamin Franklin for that quote.
Yeah, but they unfortunately she was hit and run and it like dude, how do you get a DWI and then you get let go on probation and then you just do the same thing over again?
Dude, I'm not going to name names, and I know you probably won't either. Do you remember the individual we used to work with who had one of those? Worked at Applebee's.
Like he had a DWI and then came back and still. There's a lot of people that had that.
Oh no! Like we worked directly with them.
Oh, we worked with them.
Yeah. I'll tell you when we're done recording if you don't remember. I don't know. If you actually, I don't know if you know this about this person. Maybe potentially. I thought it was pretty common, but yeah, they had to use a breathalyzer to start their vehicle.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
I know.
Yeah. I don't know if you ever. I said he. I don't know if he ever told you the story about that, but man.
Yeah, because there were quite a few times. I say quite a few. A decent amount where I had to give him a ride home because his he just didn't have his car or something like that or whatever. But yeah,
it is crazy. It is crazy. Yeah,
but I mean, he's married now.
I know
he's got two kids.
He's doing fine. He's doing well.
Haven't talked to him, and I mean, I've talked to him here and there, but I've been trying. He lives out in like in between Fort Worth and Denton. I can't remember the name of the town.
Okay.
The town that he lives in, but
yeah,
no, he's got a full engineering job now. Like he's got two daughters, I think.
Nice.
Everything, and so he seems to be doing really good. I've been trying to meet up with him, catch up. But yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Okay, cool.
But yeah, I didn't really want to start the episode off on a, straight up, two people. But and here's the thing, that's just two of them. Like there was a car, a pile up on 35 that involved an RV, I think, and somebody else was also killed.
Dang,
I think it was like up in Sanger.
That's crazy because it was just. I know we talked about this, but it would have been just about 2 weeks ago. I think in Austin we had that semi truck that just rammed through like 15 cars and killed. I think it was like 5 people, and then like
I saw that video.
Yeah, and then like 14. Dude, there was a news update on that, and this may change by the time this episode goes live. Apparently, they had a warrant out for a blood sample, and apparently, and I'll fact check this for time. Apparently, homeboy was not intoxicated when that happened.
He just did it just to do it.
Yeah. I don't know the actual. Yeah, 2 days ago, KXAN, it's just our Austin's local NBC affiliate, saying headline: Attorney says no drugs, alcohol found in arrested driver's system from deadly I-35 crash. Says the truck driver arrested in connection with the deadly 18-vehicle March pileup on Interstate 35 in North Austin did not have drugs or alcohol in his system at the time of the crash. His attorney, Bristol Myers, told KXAN on Friday. So, I don't know. 5 people died, 11 people injured.
Yeah. So this was the other one right here. It's a
victim identified in deadly Denton pileup. Man, what is I-35? Is not a safe road anymore. No,
it's one of the deadliest highways in the country.
That is crazy. I mean, I believe it.
So hold on. Let's see here. Top.
Also, look at that eyebrow tattoo.
Right.
Holy cow. Yo, the RV just like rammed into those people. That truck could have just whoopsie daisied off that bridge there. Is there another vehicle in between those two vehicles?
I think so.
Holy cow. Yo, where do you even start? For those of you just listening, like picture, was that like a two lane, one direction?
Yeah.
Interstate bridge over like a creek or a river or something. It was like a creek, I think. Yeah, one direction, but like it looked like there was like 5 cars, and then an RV just like slammed through them. And some of them looked like they had pancaked beyond, obviously beyond repair, but beyond existence.
Yeah.
On this planet.
I'm trying to see if I can find. Okay, so this might be beneficial then.
Yeah, so for those of you out there listening, if you haven't already subscribed to the Unscripted Company podcast, the #1 podcast discussing car crashes across the I-35 corridor in the state of Texas, leave a comment down below. What's your favorite car crash?
Let's see here.
Let us know.
I don't know if I believe that, but it's Texas. So I saw a video, and it was like top 10 deadliest highways in the U.S. and Texas actually had 2 of them because it was I-35 It says I-35 shares some of the same risk factors as the I-20, namely in taking the 10 deadliest miles title in 3 different states. However, the differences go a little further than that, as this highway's presence in Iowa and Kansas still leaves it with a relatively low number of fatalities.
So I questioned ChatGPT on this, and I had it also simultaneously search. So it's pulling live information from the interwebs. And I said, what are the deadliest highways/roads in the United States? It says several highways and roads in the United States are notorious for their high rates of fatal accidents. Here are some of the deadliest, ranked in order from most to least. Number 1, Interstate 4 in Florida connects Tampa to Daytona Beach. That makes sense. A lot of people go pretty wild in Daytona.
Yeah.
Number 2, Interstate 45 in Texas, which connects Dallas to Galveston through the Houston area. Number 3, Interstate 35.
Yeah. So that was actually I think those 3 were in the video that I watched. And then I think they mentioned I-30 as well at some point, but
probably this is just a top 10.
Yeah.
Also in Texas, number 8, US Route 175, which apparently connects Dallas to Jacksonville.
Yes.
It's a 114-mile highway with a high fatality rate.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Stay safe out there, kids.
Yeah. So it's insane. And the thing, and the sad part is like they're not even done with all the construction yet. Like they're expanding 35 again. Like when you're going into Louisville to Carrollton and all that, they're expanding it because they're doing the 2 expressways now. So instead of having just the one expressway that's open one way or open the other way, they're now making a second expressway that's going the opposite direction so that the other one can just go that direction.
Oh, I'll do you one better, man. They're getting ready to completely revamp I-35 going through downtown Austin, where they're going to bury the highway. So
did that. They did that in Dallas.
Yeah, it's going to basically be like was it Clyde Warren Park kind of a thing.
They did that. They did that for 635.
Yeah, this is literally like a 30-year project, and they're just starting like last month.
Well, they started on the other project. And so 30, like when I leave right outside, they're working on this portion of 35 now too, like right in front of our apartment.
Oh man.
And so it's like, it's awful right now.
Yeah. What is kind of wild though is they're like in talks with like the city of Austin and then the University of Texas at Austin, where they'll basically own the parks and the land on top of the highway. And so UT will eventually, it looks like, do their tailgating for football games on top of I-35, the same way Clyde Warren Park is like on top of another highway. Yeah. It's kind of crazy.
That is insane. Yeah. So, again, didn't want to start off on a low note. I mean, don't get me wrong. I've actually got similar other depressing news, but not as depressing, but it just depends on what it is. So
it's all good.
Yeah.
So I got 2 things I want to hit on. I'll hit on one, and then we can go back to something you got, and then I'll follow it up with. I'm going to end with a rant on, or not a rant, an observation on door-to-door salesmen, because as a new homeowner, door-to-door salespeople are all over the place, and they are ripe for the picking. But more fun, entertaining news. I don't know if you saw this. Let me play you a video, and then I'll kind of walk us through what the heck we are looking at here. This is some of the latest and greatest technology to debut this past week. Let me play this. Yes, it's not in English. Don't ask me what it's saying. Let's look at this video here. This is like a robotic horse slash mountain lion. That Kawasaki is putting out called Corleo. This is a real thing. Apparently it's powered by hydrogen too. Look at this. This dude is like traversing a snow-covered mountain in this thing. So at first I saw this video, and as I normally do as an internet, student of the internet, I'm like, first of all, is this thing fake? So I was like, okay, let me do some due diligence here and start digging around. This is real. This is 100% real. Headline says, Kawasaki debuts hydrogen-powered 4-legged bionic robot called Corleo. For those of you listening, it's Corleo. says Kawasaki Heavy Industries has unveiled Corleo, a four-legged bionic robot powered by a hydrogen fuel cell system, showcasing future-ready mobile platform technologies. Featuring advanced off-road mobility, integrated hydrogen storage, and human-machine collaboration controls, Corleo merges robotics with Kawasaki's motorcycle and energy innovations. Apparently, this is technically a concept vehicle for 2050. It was debuted at the Future Life Expo in Future City, a showcase event for future society at the 2025 World Expo in Japan, which is debuting in April of 2025. But this is like a legit full off-road vehicle. Here's the video.
See, this looks like AI.
It really does. That's why at first I was like, there's no way. Now, of course, this concept video, I don't know how much of it is like done in a studio versus actually out there, but this is crazy. Can you imagine the next World War being fought with these things? Or can you imagine the next criminal gang or organization using these to roll up and rob a town? Like, they make this look all peaceful, but I'm like, yo, if you're strapped with like an AR-15 and you're just rolling through some small town somewhere, you can do a lot of damage with this.
Like, I find it hard to believe, though, that it can traverse the way it is, though.
I think it's kind of believable because we have the Boston Dynamics robots. So let me pull that up real quick. Boston Dynamics. These things have been around for a number of years now. Not the actual. I want the dog robots. This is a weird video. Hang on. Let me find something a little more practical about. Yeah, so they have these like robots that can, like, in this case, it is jumping rope with itself. But they can traverse. Let me do all terrain, see what pops up here. This isn't Boston Dynamics, but it's the same concept of like, these vehicles for sure do exist, and they've existed for years now. It's just, what can you do with them, you know? Now you can put a human on the back of it. You kind of speechless right now?
Like, how much is that going to cost? I want one. Like,
or you could do, hang on, let me do, I remember seeing this before. I've seen it where they can do, there's like an AI robot dog, and they put a flame on the back of it. Hang on. Because I think it was, was it iShow Speed or Kai Cenat? One of them was playing around with it. I bet I can find this real quick. Yeah, here we go. iShow Speed. So this is from one of his live streams.
God damn it! Hey! Fuck! Hey! No!
But could you imagine if like 20 of these rolled up on your house? Or not even 20.
No!
5 of them.
I'm out of call.
this is some Terminator stuff happening, man. That's why you got to treat everything nice. That's why I always say please and thank you when I use AI.
But not even AI. What if someone else was controlling this? Because the whole joke is, like, the wars of the future aren't fought with, muscular men on the ground. It's fought by the kids that grew up playing Call of Duty because everything's going to be remote controlled.
That's why I'm kind of like, man, should I have gone to the military? Like, let me just sit at a computer and just control some stuff. Like,
that GI Bill is pretty lucrative too.
All I'm saying is listen, they want to win some wars, make everything digital, and let the people who are like the top 0.1% of players in Call of Duty fight your wars for you at that point.
We kind of already do that. We kind of do that a lot with like drones. Drones for sure. Like, I go down really dark rabbit holes sometimes where have you seen the drones that have been used in like Russia and Ukraine.
Mhm.
They're like the suicide drones, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's kind of wild. There's someone controlling that on the other side of it.
Yeah, no, that's the thing. That's why I'm like, man, like if it's not too late, like, hey, listen, I'll sign up like part time, like reserves. Like I don't want to go anywhere.
You absolutely could sign up for reserves like tomorrow. I'm sure they would love to take you.
I'm pretty sure they would too.
Yeah.
The moment I sign up, hey, we're going to war with Russia. What?
Well, yeah, that's the whole question too. Is like I could be wrong. I don't think that's ever going to happen. There's not. I don't foresee another draft. If there's a draft, there's much.
Well, they made it
worse
now.
things.
So like, what I was told, and I could be completely wrong on this. And anyone who's in the military, please
Don't forget
leave
to
a
like and
comment.
subscribe.
Yes.
Yeah.
Let me know. Like, but so when I was 18, I got a thing in the mail that I had to sign my name on it and keep this little piece of paper with me, and I had to send it back. And it was like, you're registered for the draft comes up.
Yep.
But I was told that the draft, like so I was born in 95.
I don't know where my little card is. Do you know where your little card is?
I got rid of it.
I think I did too. Actually, oh no, we're old enough because it's.
That's what I was saying. It's 26, I think, is the cutoff age.
Oh man, okay, I've been out for a while then. I'm not worried about it.
So 26 is the cutoff age. It's either 26 or 27, but I'm pretty sure either way we're
26
past
sounds
it.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But either way we're both past it. Now moving forward, it's one of those things where if we have a draft, are we going to have enough bodies to where they're not going to try to come after people that are under 35 at that point, like
Enough bodies that are appropriately weighted and able to move as fast as they are required to move. You know what I mean?
yes.
It's like something like 55, almost 60% of the population is considered obese.
Yes.
It's kind of wild.
We are actually, here's the funny thing though. Same as probably most other countries, we have the same type of fast food restaurants, McDonald's, Burger King, Pizza Hut, all these other things. But somehow we're the more obese country than the other places. And
We're
they
here
serve
for a good time.
and they serve a lot of the same food. But they do theirs differently though over there. And so really makes you wonder that, what's going to happen. Like I'm not in like this year, like, I mean, my goal this year physically, like, fitness wise is to hit like, peak physical condition this year. Just got to get past the,
So you're going to have a 6-pack?
I don't really want a 6-pack.
I think those in South Africa, our listening audience in South Africa has heard that Riley's going to have a 6-pack and they're expecting results.
Here's the thing. I don't want a 6-pack. Like you'd see like
you
those
want a
guys.
12-pack. You want the full washboard.
Hold on. Let's see here. Let me see here.
You want to be able to make it a musical instrument. You want to get a metal spoon and play spoons on your abs, basically.
No.
No? Okay. Well,
hold on. Let's see here.
Are you really going to disappoint the listeners in the Netherlands?
No.
There are 35 people from the Netherlands that listen to us.
So, like, I don't want, like, I'm trying to find, like, a perfect example.
Oh, if you go to, was it playgirl.com?
No.
Oh. Don't Google that, kids. Don't Google that.
Okay. So, like, let me put it like this. Like, when you have, like, the skinnier, like they're completely toned, like, literally, like, 1% body fat.
Yeah.
I don't want that.
I ain't got time for that. No.
I don't want that.
Yeah.
I for sure don't have time for that. But, like, I want, like,
You just want to be healthy.
I want to have muscle, like, definition.
That makes sense.
If that makes sense. And have,
sense.
like, maybe, like, anywhere from, like, the 8 to 12% body fat. I'd be fine with that. Because right now, like, I'm in, like, the high teens.
Yeah.
Like, that's where I'm at, honestly.
Get a pull-up bar or use a pull-up bar.
But,
change your life.
But my plan, though, moving forward is, I'm really working on, like, the diet aspect because that's majority of it.
Yeah.
I'm currently trying to go through a cut. I'm actually going to be starting soon.
Start ordering light cheese when you order a pizza, basically.
Right. No dough, no bread. Just give me the meat.
Yeah.
But that essentially, kind of getting back to like the main point, but it's like people just like, if we were to ever have a draft, it's like, do you think that they like, if they're desperate enough, they would just draft anybody?
I don't think so. I think
just to have the bodies.
No, because I'm just thinking. I look back on like the drafts of like World War II and Korea, and you had individuals that because they were like flat-footed, they couldn't serve. when they were drafted.
Yeah, there was like the most ridiculous reasons why.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. Like even back then, they were able to get people not to serve, or people were able to get out of serving because of those certain things. So I'm just thinking like, and also I just because of the way technology is, we don't need bodies on the ground the same way we used to. You know, I think this would be interesting. I could see people maybe be getting drafted to go work on projects. That could be interesting, right?
Right.
You get drafted to go work a specific job to ensure that the production of your country is geared towards something. But also, it's just a whole different world than it was back in the 40s.
Right. Yeah. Well,
I don't even know what that looks like in the modern world.
Even back in the 40s, though, people like they barely did anything to keep themselves healthy, and they were just, I say that they were literally built different back then.
Quite literally, because the food was real. That's,
Yeah.
I think the simplest thing, the food was real.
Well, the thing is, though, is like you can get real food now.
Yeah.
It's just it's so much more expensive, and then and I'm pretty sure we're probably going to talk about it at some point. Actually, we are going to talk about it because I have it as a topic. But tariffs,
bring it up.
All the tariff stuff.
Yeah.
So far, since the tariffs have been brought up, apparently, U.S. Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick reveals 50 nations have reached out to negotiate tariffs. Warns there is no postponing.
Yeah.
So we've had 50 nations so far reach out to President Trump and the administration saying, hey, we need to figure something out.
Yeah. And the stock market is kind of in free fall. And I'm not saying this lightly. We're in bear market territory, kind of for the first time in a long time. Well, I say long time. First time since really March 2020.
Yeah.
It's happening.
And so tariffs are still happening. And here's the funny thing, though, is I saw a video, and it was like a skit video, like it wasn't real. But this guy, was portraying President Trump, and you had Apple, who was selling, their iPhone. And currently, right now, like I've got the 16 Pro Max, so this phone costs $1,200, retail. Got a really good deal on it, so that's why I still have iPhone, because AT&T comes in clutch on that stuff, but. You go to Apple, you buy one brand new, it's going to cost you $1,200 cash or whatever. Well, with the tariffs happening now, they were like, we're just going to charge more for the phone. So because let's just say the phone was $1,000 and he charges 15% on the tariffs. Well, now the phone's going to go from $1,000 to $1,150 because it's the 15%. And then if he charges 25%, okay, it's going to be $1,250. So the moral of this is like, it's going to literally affect the consumer more than it's going to affect the people who are instigating the tariffs. And I don't think they realize that, because again, we've talked about it. I'm definitely not going to stay heavy on the topic, but we don't make as much as what we used to.
No,
and the value of the dollar is going down every day. That's why they're not printing as much money. I mean, they're still printing, but they're not it's not COVID times. And so the value of the dollar is going down. So what we're making now is not going to be worth the same in 15 years.
Yeah.
And if these tariffs keep going, like I get where he's coming from, but here's the thing. You don't have to do tariffs. Just shut down manufacturing in other countries that are manufacturing goods to us and bring that manufacturing here. So the money that you're getting from Doge, use that to rebuild our infrastructure and get those businesses back over here, and that will actually legitimately create jobs, like not bring back jobs that were gone, but create new jobs for people. And even though it'll cost a little bit more because we're making it over here and we're making it on our version of the, what the dollar is, instead of paying another country, however, pennies on the dollar to make it, at least then we'll be getting a good quality product.
That's true.
So
yeah. I'm conflicted on it. Like, because it's going to be painful. I mean, we're seeing it here. I'm going to share my screen real quick.
Yeah.
Just to give a visual. I think people have seen, if anyone follows the stock market, you've probably seen these like heat maps before showing the market cap. This is from the Kobayashi letter. I've quoted them quite often before. Very insightful when it comes to commentary on what's happening in domestic and global markets. But right now, when Riley and I are recording this, just to give context, this is a Sunday night, and we'll typically upload or have the episode go live early Tuesday morning. So I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow, meaning Monday morning when the market opens. But Thursday and Friday last week, the market just, yes, the market goes up, the market goes down, it goes back up. It's
But
been
it
going,
hasn't gone down like this.
it's been going down. It's been go. We're the first time in bear market territory for both the S&P 500 and Nasdaq since March 2020. And if anyone remembers, March 2020 was when COVID hit and people thought the world was going to end there for a second. So they're talking about futures here, but they say today's drop in U.S. stock market futures puts the S&P 500 futures down negative 22%. And in bear market territory, the U.S. stock market has now erased an average of $400 billion per trading day for 32 straight days. Now, the question is, where's the bottom? No one knows where the bottom is. If anyone tells you where they know the bottom is, they're lying to you and they're trying to make money off of you.
I have something to speak to that point here in a second after you.
They go on to say exactly 32 trading days ago, the S&P 500 hit a new all-time high of $6,147. In the below timeline, we explain how the S&P 500 has erased over 1,300 points, $1,300, in 32 trading days. This is a March 2020 style decline, and sentiment has reached some of its most bearish levels in history. For those of you who don't know, a bear means negative, a bull means positive. Think about how a bear pounces, a bull bucks its head. So we can see in this little chart here, this is March and April. We can see how early in March, or about mid-March, the S&P 500 hits new all-time highs of 6,147. Then you had the trade war started to escalate with around 25% tariffs on Canada and Mexico. Saw a little bit of a decline. Stocks kind of hit a bottom early. Earlier, I meant to say that was February. Sorry. Now we're looking at March, mid-March. Stocks bounce as trade deal hopes rise between Canada and Mexico. And then we started to see 25% auto tariffs get announced. The Liberation Day, quote unquote, begins. And then the U.S. stocks erased over $12 trillion in value. Around 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, crypto markets also began to decline. The decline escalated sharply into 5 p.m. Eastern Time, erasing around $200 billion with a market cap. They say, we took this as a clear indication that the risk-off trade was ramping up again. At 6 p.m. Eastern Time, U.S. futures opened with a negative 6% drop. So this is what people are betting on what's going to happen Monday morning here in about 12 hours, give or take. So what changed since Friday? It's more what did not change since Friday as President Trump doubled down, like you said, Riley, on his trade war. Heading into market close this past Friday, investors were hopeful of signs of a trade deal coming this weekend, as of we're talking now. Instead, it was a complete silence and markets hated it. Minutes ago, this is about 2 hours ago, President Trump was asked about the stock market sell-off. The S&P 500 is on track to fall around negative 15% in 3 days, one of its largest 3-day declines in recent history. Trump's response was, sometimes you have to take medicine. In other words, short-term pain for long-term gain.
But here's the thing, though. When they talk about long-term,
Yeah.
like I picture long-term like
Decades.
not just a 4-year presidential term.
Yeah.
Like
we're ripping the Band-Aid off to cure a long-term disease, basically.
So, yeah, it could take 10 years. It could take 15 years. Cool. I mean, Lord willing, we're still around at that point. I say this in a way where it's like, because there's definitely a couple things that like I have that I'm going to touch on that have to do with what's going on with all the tariffs and just Trump in general. But it's like, Trump is doing all this, and the moment he's out of office, we either get another Republican in there who shares similar values in that regard, where they're going to continue the tariffs, or we are going to get another Democrat, and they're going to reverse every single thing that he did. But what if none of the other countries want to reverse theirs? Like,
it's a great question.
That's what I'm saying. Like, there's so much unknown with this right now that I'm like, I don't know how to feel right now, because because we're definitely feeling the effects of, you know, what's already being implemented, and it's not even in full effect yet. Gas up here was like over $3 a gallon again. I'm like, are you serious? Like, how? And so there's just all kinds of stuff happening now that it's like, look, if my groceries are going to go from being $100 a week to, which, yes, I can afford groceries for $100 a week. I see a lot of people
But it's
who are
still
like,
$100.
but I still we get everything we need with that $100. Like, we meal prep all of our stuff, so it makes it easy for us. But I look at that long-term aspect and I'm like, how long-term are we talking? Because, you know, a lot of people can't, like, there's a lot of people that aren't even they're not even paying their credit cards. Like, they don't even care. They're not paying their credit cards. Half of them aren't even paying their car note. Here's what blows my mind. I look around and I see people who drive in like 2025 Broncos and all these nice new cars and Lexus and Mercedes and all this. Don't know any of their situations.
They're all leases, probably. That's the one thing to keep in mind. There's a lot of leased vehicles out there.
But even leases are still expensive, though. Like, you're still spending like $400 or $500 a month. The average car payment is like $750 a month,
which is crazy.
Which is insane.
Yeah.
And I'm like, how do people even still afford that? Like, how do you afford the lease? How do you afford the payment? Like, no matter what your job is, that's still a heavy blow to take, especially with the cost of living in general. But when people are looking at these tariffs, it's not just affecting your everyday goods. Like, it's going to affect the cars. It's going to, like, the motor industry, the tech industry. I game. Like, that's what I do a lot in my personal time. Like, not all the time, but that's what I do. Nintendo's already come out and pretty much said, like, yeah, we're about to start overcharge, like $90 a game, $100 a game.
That new Mario Kart looks pretty hype, though. Mario Kart World.
Yeah.
I will say, yeah, it's like supposed to be like $80, and you have to buy the Switch too. And I get it. You have to spend $500-$600 to like play it. Looks fun though.
But that's what I'm saying is, like, that's why, like, it sucks for me as a gamer, because I'm like, okay, well, how much are games going to cost? Like, to me, it's like, at this point, I'm only going to buy games that are produced. But is it only going to affect the digital copy, or I mean the actual copy, or is it going to affect digital copies too? Because digital copies, it really shouldn't matter because it's a worldwide thing. Like, if you put it on Steam or if you put it on Epic Games, like, it's out there to everybody. So it's like, is it only going to charge more for me because I live in America and that's where my IP is at, or is it going to charge more for everybody? Like, that's what I'm saying.
That's a great question, actually. I didn't think about that from a digital game perspective. Physical game, yeah, for sure. Price will go up because, well, I don't know. Nintendo probably, I would imagine that they actually produce the physical game stateside, right? Or do you think they're actually?
I don't know about Nintendo.
Yeah,
because
same thing with Sony and Microsoft with like PlayStation and Xbox. Are they?
Well, I haven't bought a physical copy of a game in years. Like,
I haven't either, but it makes me wonder, like, where are they actually loading the data onto those discs or writing the data? You know,
that's what I'm saying. That's what I don't know.
It's a great question.
So, like, and these are just, people think it's just like one thing that's being affected. Like, no, like, everything that you can think of, like, that you have, like, at some point was probably manufactured in a different country.
Yeah.
And you don't know it unless you, like, you just don't know. Like, everything you see on the stores, like store shelves, it says made in China. Like, that's going to be that's going to be a price hike, because they're not going to just, the companies aren't just going to just sell it for the same price. They're going to raise the price of it. And every time they raise the price, people can't afford it. So then, because they're having to raise the price on the product because they're getting it from another country, it's just going to keep going up and up. So it's like, where does it end before that Band-Aid is like fully ripped off? And these are questions, like, these are thoughts that I've had. Isn't
there like a quote, something about it's always darkest before the dawn?
I don't know about this one, buddy.
I don't know.
But there's a guy. So I follow him on Facebook. His name is Nicholas Crown. I don't know if you've heard of him. He's like your, social media person, but not only that, though, he's a financial planner, strategist, and a macro content creator. He's a serial entrepreneur. He, having founded the digital growth agency Amoeba, which was later acquired. He's the founder and CEO of Revise, a specialist retirement firm, and he began his career as a fixed income trader in London. He, TikTok, Instagram, YouTube. He does a rich versus really rich series like that. He, every so often, kind of portrays like what the, rich act like versus like, if you're really rich, you should still treat people with respect.
Okay.
Like this is how you should act in public accordingly. You shouldn't be a dick.
Yeah.
He's also featured in publications like Forbes, Inc., and Market Watch. He hosts the Really Rich podcast, which I actually didn't know that. I'll have to check that out. His content and work revolve around the intersection of personal fulfillment and money. He discusses global finance and the creator economy. He is an expert in annuities and retirement planning. He has a bachelor's of science in applied economics and management from Cornell University. He was the director of fixed income arbitrage at UBS. He has written a book titled Really Rich, the 10 Future-Proof Behaviors That Create Wealth. Needless to say, he's actually a pretty chill guy. Like, I've watched his videos. He's in, like, he put out this one most recently on Facebook. It says why you should reduce market risk. He talks about it saying the dip is for people who don't have enough money for it to matter that if they lose money. So it's like if you were to invest now and you lost a little bit of money that you invested, it wouldn't bother you that much. But he also too he talks about a lot of people online. I don't know if if you see a lot of it because the algorithm feeds you what you watch. Well, he talks about how you get a lot of just all these fake investment people that say like, this is what the market's doing. This is what you should do. This is like, and they advise people on this stuff, not having any idea about what's actually happening in the market. Like I probably have like 5 to 10 people that I watch, like, not regularly, but like I listen to their stuff when they talk about it because I'm like, okay, like I can see that you've got the background of knowing what's what. And he's pretty much saying like, don't even do anything yet. Like do absolutely nothing. Don't spend your money on anything. Like if you're going to invest in stuff, like obviously safe investments, like, me and her, we want to start 2 Roth IRA accounts. We can still do that because we're still going to have the growth. But as far as investments like stocks, he said absolutely do nothing. Just wait because it's going to keep going down. And I'm telling you, boy, when it goes down, I'm going to buy some NVIDIA stock. I'm going to buy some good stuff. But I'm just saying, it's just for anyone who's listening, do your research on anything before you do anything. Like the market, we're in a correcting market right now. The market is shifting heavily for everything. We're in very, very heavy unknown territory and unknown waters, and we have no idea what's going to happen. And we said this plenty of times. We're only 4 months into the new year.
Yeah.
We're only 4 months into the new administration. Buckle up because we're nowhere near being done yet. And I know I've kind of said this before too, but don't be selfish to each other. We understand tragedies happen. We talked about a couple of them tonight. This is the time where people need each other more than ever, so don't be afraid. Like everything's tied on everybody, but that doesn't mean that we have to act a certain way towards each other because things are, things aren't going how you want. And I'm preaching to the choir right now. I'm preaching to myself, but that's fine. Just, we need to care for each other. We need to be there for each other because y'all talk about wanting to be a country again, and y'all talk about wanting unification. Quit attacking each other with just verbal slander and, cursing each other out and all this and that. Have intellectual conversations, be there for each other, help each other out. That's how we're going to get stronger as a country. Screw whatever the administration is doing because what they're going to do is what they're going to do. There's nothing that we can say or do that's going to change their minds. The only thing that we can do is support each other and hold on. So,
man, I don't even think I need to ask you for any words of wisdom. I think you just gave some. Truthfully.
I did.
Truthfully. Man, is there anything else you want to hit on for this episode?
Honestly, not really. Other than that, we had the measles that are still happening, the whole measles outbreak that's going on.
Yeah.
Sharing
is caring.
Find it real quick. Yeah, right here. So, measles cases in Texas rise to 400 as U.S. total reaches nearly 500 amid worsening outbreak. This is probably the worst outbreak that we've had of this. So it is kind of...
It's like the worst outbreak since the 19th century.
The crazy thing? Someone was actually arrested. I don't know if they were arrested, I don't think they were. Someone actually was in the Grapevine Mills Mall that tested positive for measles.
Yikes. Yeah.
And I'm like, and I told Dana this. I was like, I feel like people who do that, like if you knowingly have something like that and you're just out and about doing your life, whatever, you should be arrested. You should face criminal charges. Something because or a hefty fine at that. They should put an ankle monitor on you so you stay at home, and if you leave, then it's a fine every single time.
Man, it's very dystopian.
But yeah, it says the majority of the cases affected the 5 to 17-year-old age group, with 164 listed. There have been 131 confirmed cases in the 0 to 4 age group, 80 people 18 years old and have caught measles, and 25 people are pending. A lot of it's been happening out in West Texas. Like that's where the majority of this has been at.
Yeah.
I'll be honest. We've been seeing more and more about this since the whole dust storm kind of swept through Texas. So I don't know if that might have anything to do with it. I doubt it, but
I think people just travel across the state. Yeah. It takes one person. That's all it takes.
Yeah. So, same thing. We don't need another COVID. We do not need another COVID on our hands. And I feel like I'm not saying this would be much worse than COVID, but it could be. And so, yeah, we just need to, if you feel any symptoms of it, please consult your primary care physician. If you don't have one, well, they have virtual consultations for a reason. So, so stay safe out there on that front. Other than that, there's not really much else. There's a bunch of protests that have been happening, all the hands-off protests. I don't know if you've heard about that, but
yeah,
it's like people are just protesting Trump and the administration. And I'm like, there's not really much you can do about it now.
Makes you wonder how much people are being paid to protest.
I don't know. They apparently had a huge protest at the Denton Square.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
I'm sure that made a difference.
Here's the thing. I love Denton. I do. Yeah. But, dude, this city is very I feel like, in my perception, is more because of the two universities here. It's very much so like democratic. It's very democratic here. And I've never had an issue with anyone. Like if anyone has you want to scream in my face, go for it. Like I don't care. Like scream in my face. I'm just going to stand there. But at the end of the day, it's like, what does a lot of this stuff do? It's like, are you making a huge difference in it, or are you just? And you have the freedom of speech, so by all means, say whatever is on your mind, or say your piece. But I don't know. There's just a lot of that going on, and it's again, buckle up because I don't see any impeachment happening this time.
Not until after the midterms. I could see maybe after the midterms.
Yeah. But that's if Republicans are able to keep a hold of it, which it's definitely still too early to tell. But again, it depends on if people want to even try to go back to the way things were previously.
Yeah, I think something really telling for those listening, if you go look to the Minnesota elections that just happened. Or sorry, not Minnesota, Wisconsin. The Wisconsin elections that just happened. That's very telling for everything that's going to happen in the midterms. So we shall see.
Yeah, we shall definitely see. It's going to be interesting, though. Like, a lot of stuff's happening, and this is kind of why we wanted to restructure our podcast like this. For those of you who might just be now tuning in, or who have listened for a while, and some of y'all prefer like the conspiracy stuff. Don't worry, we're still doing all that. Live streams, everything, and all of that. But we feel like this is the best way that we can serve whatever community is listening, whatever portion of the world is listening. And if y'all have any current news stories that are, going on in your country, because we do have apparently a wide array of people who listen throughout the world.
Shout out to the Philippines.
Yeah. Shout out to the Philippines. If y'all have any, news that's going on out there that we might not be hearing about, put a comment out there, let us know. And we'll do our best to, cover it. We're not like your full blown news station, but we are 100% unbiased. We're not going to feed you one side or the other. We're going to talk about exactly what we see, exactly what we read, and we're just putting everything out there. And at the end of the day, do your research and make your own decisions, or, draw your own conclusions from whatever it is that you read. But we're just here having fun with it. But we also want to, make sure that people are, getting what they need, or at least, getting some good information out there. So yeah.
And with that, then we can wrap episode 62 up in the books. I'd ask you for some words of wisdom, but I think you gave them earlier. Truthfully, that dialogue you gave, solid. I guess right before we all say goodbye, if you haven't done so already, give the episode a like. If you haven't followed or subscribed to the channel, why not? Go ahead, do it. Help support us. Let us know we're heading in the right direction. Also, if you want, leave a comment down below. Let us know, like Riley said. Is there anything else you want us to talk about? Any news? Any feedback? Any thoughts? What do you think's going on? Riley, any final words before I wrap it up?
No, we appreciate y'all. Love each other, and we'll tune in next week and hopefully have some updates for some unfolding stories. So
More car crashes in the future.